Good afternoon, everyone. I am saying hi from rainy Seattle. It's pretty gross outside, but I'm here today to talk to you about lab testing. And I know I've talked about it a little bit before in the group, but I really wanted to explain to you how I used lab testing to really help my son thrive and reduce his symptoms and be able for him to be better and do better and be better at school and at home. So I sent out an email to my list earlier this week on functional lab testing, and I've had lots and lots of responses and questions that I thought I'd jump on here to give you guys some extra info. So functional lab testing is a service that I offer in my business that always generates a lot of interest, and rightfully so. It's a way to really look at the root cause of what's going on instead of just treating symptoms or simply putting a band-aid over it. Functional lab testing is a way to really identify healing opportunities in the entire body systems. So I use the analogy that it is like taking a deep dive into the hormone, immune, digestion, detoxification, and intestinal barrier systems. I thought it might be useful to start this Facebook Live by sharing how lab test was critical in the journey for my son, for him to thrive, and real life examples to show you how it works. So as a part of my son Ollie's health protocol, I used 4 lab tests to really get to the heart of what was going on. The first test we did was a food allergy and sensitivity test. This test looks for food intolerances that are going on inside the body. In my experience, the best version currently available on the marketplace is called Vibrant Wellness Food Sensitivity and Zuma Test. It's a blood test and it looks at sensitivities to different foods. I think there's over 100. Allergies are a real true histamine response. So for example, if you've got a peanut allergy, you might go into anaphylactic shock because you were exposed to nuts. But you can also have food sensitivities which are related to inflammation. So if you have something called leaky gut, which is a topic for another day, food particles can get into the bloodstream and the body starts to recognize them as a toxin and creates an inflammatory response to that. Now, there's a very significant difference between an allergy and a sensitivity. A sensitivity is something the body can actually heal from. If we heal the gut and we stop the food particles from going into the bloodstream, eventually you will no longer have that sensitivity to that food anymore. For us, this test uncovered that he was actually sensitive to corn, raspberries, tapioca, and a handful of other foods. Now, when we remove these, plus gluten, dairy, and soy from his diet, so we could work on healing his gut. The next test we did was a GI map. Now, this is a stool sample test, and it really looks at the state of the gut. It looks for parasites, bacteria, worms. I know it all sounds really gross. Yeast overgrowth. There are also intestinal health markers that really look at inflammation in the gut, the immune system responses, reactivity to gluten, digestive enzymes, and are you digesting fat well? Now, inside my son's body, we found that he actually had parasites, a bacterial imbalance, reactivity to gluten, and leaky gut. So we really, really needed to focus on healing his gut. But that test showed us so much great information and really allowed us to target what we were doing to heal his body. The third test we did was an Oats test. This is an organic acid test, and it's a urine test that reveals problems in the bodies with metabolism, nutrient deficiencies, gut health, neurotransmitters, detoxification pathways, and a lot more. The OAT test is really a great test for kids and can identify underlying causes that contribute to ADHD, anxiety, autism, sensory processing issues, behavior, and learning problems. Now, this test showed us that my son had neurotransmitter metabolism problems with dopamine, serotonin, etc. He also had oxidative damage, and I know these might be words that you don't really understand, but if you decide to go down the testing path, I always do a lot of training with my clients so they really understand what they're looking at. Another thing we found was my son's detox pathways were compromised, and he also also had a lot of vitamin B deficiencies and yeast overgrowth. So just with that one test alone, we saw so much that was going on in his little body. The last test we did as a foundation test was a hair tissue mineral analysis, or HTMA. This was the fourth test that we did. It is an analytical test which really measures the mineral content of the hair. It's basically a window into the cell's mineral activity, an average of the mineral system activity over the last 3 to 4 months. We discovered that Ollie was actually a slow oxidizer, and that's the way that he sort of processes his foods and protein and things like that. And his top 4 minerals, and those top 4 minerals are calcium, magnesium, sodium, and potassium, were actually completely out of balance. And it was important to get those in balance to really start the healing. We then discovered that he actually had high aluminium and mercury levels, and it was important to support his detox pathways to help remove those toxic metals out of his body. Now, with all this knowledge, I was then able to develop a protocol directly designed to heal his body. Now, I just wanted to share my journey with you guys to show you what that can look like. In the comments after this live video, I'm actually going to share with you. Hi, Rosa. Thank you. Yeah, it is so interesting, and it's so interesting to look at those results and see what's going on inside your child's body. So after this video, I'm going to share with you a few commonly asked questions about lab testing just to help you even further. If you're wanting more info, feel free to ask questions in the comments, or you can even send me a direct PM. But I just wanted to jump on, share that with you today, and hope you found it useful. So I hope you all have a really great day. Hope the weather wherever you are is better than it is in Seattle right now, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.